Welcome to In Pursuit of Truth. This is your host, Sir Patrick Mack. I feel like I need a theme song. Welcome to In Pursuit of Truth. Never mind. I don't need a theme song. That blows. Hey, we got a new Q post for you. 1681. And I'm going to cover it for you. But if I may, I would like to back you up to post 1680. Now, those of you who have followed my videos know that I left you in my last video here at this post, and we were staring at this plane and this dude walking across the street, and I wasn't really sure who it was because I had actually gotten it as I was making the video. So let's go back and take a look at it, if I may. This one was entitled United, and of course it looks to me like a United flight. And many of you are saying that this is through the first class lounge in San Francisco. Very, very clever. All right. Now this United looks to be a B747, and it made its last final domestic and international flights just last year. This is off of the Points Guy. United confirms final domestic and international 747 flights. And it looks like this is where you could kind of get information about booking the flight and whatnot. And it lists these flights. The first one was the final international flight. That was on October 29th from Seoul to San Francisco, UA 892 on October 29th. Incidentally, that was one day after we saw our very first Q post. Now, back then, Q was still kind of going anonymously. But it said, Hillary Clinton will be arrested between 7:45 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday, the morning on October 30th, 2017. HRC extradition already in motion, effective yesterday, with several countries in case of cross-border run. Passport approved to be flagged effective 10:30, meaning October 30th at 12:01 a.m. Expect massive riots organized in defiance and others fleeing the U.S. to occur. U.S. Marines will conduct the operation while National Guard activated. Proof check. Locate a National Guard member and ask if activated for duty October 30th across major cities. All right. So that was the last international flight from Seoul to San Francisco, October 29th. Now, their other last flight was the domestic one, being November 7th, San Francisco to Honolulu, and that would be UA 747. Same day as we got this picture here. And so again, that flight, November 7th, San Francisco to Honolulu, UA 747. Now let's take you over to this picture right here where Q says, "Who do you see?" And I've got it blown up for you over here. And as you can see that we are in Hong Kong. Now, in my last video, I told you that it looked like Carter Page. Honestly, I was never sold on that idea so much. It was just kind of what I originally saw. Kind of had the same build, same hair, I guess. Some of you have said that this guy over here on the right side looked like it could be Edward Snowden. I'm not so sure. I have a feeling the focus is on this guy, but this looks like would been taken obviously in traffic out of a car. So this guy looks like he was tailed. We have this kindergarten above here, which is the only thing that you're really seeing in English is the sign of that. So that could be an indicator as well too. So the Carter Page thing, I'm not so sure about. It was just kind of what I thought yesterday. A lot of you are thinking that it could be this guy right here. This is off of zerohedge.com. Ex-Clinton Foundation official tied to Chinese kindergarten embroiled in bizarre sexual abuse scandal. And keep in mind, this was reported off of Zero Hedge, November 26, 2017. A former Clinton Foundation official who is now an independent director at a company which operates private schools in China has found himself embroiled in a bizarre child abuse scandal involving needles, pills, brown syrup, nudity, and sexual molestation, according to parents. Oh, God. The head of a Beijing kindergarten has been fired after China launched a nationwide investigation into a chain of private schools operated by RYB Education, following claims of abuse at multiple locations. Parents report at least 8 toddlers with mysterious needle marks, while others said their children were forced to take white pills that were supposed to be a little secret between the children and teachers, along with some sort of brown syrup given to the students. Children were also allegedly stripped naked and forced to stand or locked in a dark room, one parent said. An unidentified mother who made a viral video about the abuse told reporters Thursday that her son she was injected with a brown liquid by a teacher and made to strip along with some other students after being examined by a naked adult male stranger, describing it as an action like sexual intercourse. When the mother pressed the principal to allow her to review closed-circuit footage from the school, she was denied. Medical examination of 8 children confirmed that the injuries were in fact caused by needles, Guangzhou police report. Furious parents gathered in front of RYB Education New World Kindergarten on Friday demanding answers. Interesting that it's called New World Kindergarten, while China's Xinhua news agency reports that children were also sexually molested. The Beijing kindergarten at the heart of the controversy is located next to a large military base, sparking rumors that military officials had been sexually abusing the children. Notably, the husband of the kindergarten's director was previously an official at the base. However, Fun Junfeng, the base's political commissioner, told PLA Daily that there was no evidence that military personnel are involved in the abuse. Mail Online reports Li Jing, mother of a 3-year-old, told AFP her daughter had not been abused, but said other children had explained how they were coerced into taking pills. Other kids were saying it's not to be called taking a pill, but a reward, and the pill is not to be called a pill, but a jelly bean, and it's a little secret between the child and the teacher, Lee said. I asked my child after I heard what other parents said, and my child said that they had been taking 2 white pills after lunch and slept after eating the pills, one father told CCTV outside the school on Thursday. These latest allegations are not the first involving RYB schools. In April, the head of a different RYB kindergarten in Beijing was suspended after admitting that teachers had made severe mistakes when videos emerged of children being thrown and kicked in the back. In October 2016, 2 teachers from an RYB kindergarten in the northeast Jilin province were sentenced to 34 months in prison after jabbing children in the buttocks, head, and inside of their mouth with sewing needles. Linked to the Clinton Foundation. RYB Education operates 80 kindergartens and has another 175 franchise locations across 130 cities in China, according to filings. All of its directors are Chinese, with the exception of former Clinton Foundation executive and associate dean at Yale, Joel Getz, 52, who is listed as an independent director. Mr. Joel Getz is independent director of the company. Prior to that, Mr. Getz served as director of the development for the William J. Clinton Foundation in New York and was president of the Mayor's Fund to advance New York City. The RYB Investor Relations page lists Guest as a member of the Audit Committee and the Compensation Committee. Bill Bishop of the Sinocism China newsletter and Axios contributor points out that it's a bit odd that an associate dean at Yale would be on the board of directors of a Chinese kindergarten chain, suggesting that perhaps Getz thought it would be easy money. Shares of RYB plummeted on Friday after the investigation was announced, falling over 42% in early trade, only to recover slightly, ending the day down 38.41%. And there you can see the graphics right there. So this Joel Getz right here, could this be our dude? Could this be this guy? Mr. Joel, I'm gonna get me some kids over at the kindergarten. Good Lord, what a creep. And of course, linked to a Clinton, like I said, director of development for the William J. Clinton Foundation in New York. And of course, member of the Audit Committee and Compensation Committee at RYB. And here is their website right here, RYB. You can see there he is, board of directors, independent director. Also was the president, co-founder of Rim Pacific, a manufacturing and distribution firm focused on art reproductions. So who knows? Could this be our guy right here? Seems like it could be. Here is a screenshot of the school. And then here is also a picture of the street view from a blog. This was back in March 2014. As you can see, there's the sign right there, Western Pacific. And now here, an Anon posted on 8chan. Here was an updated picture from January 2017, and you see that the sign is no longer there. So the kindergarten must have moved. The Anon says, here's the street view from Google. I was mistaken. Google Street View from the exact location that Q's pic is taken from. Here is from January 2017. So the kindergarten must have been moved and signs removed before January 2017. And it does appear that it was indeed removed. And then this Anon says, what makes you say between October 2016 and November 2017? Source. So I'm wondering, this guy was reported to have been arrested late November 2017. Could this have been around the time that could it have been earlier, and maybe this was our guy that was on our flight? I'm not really sure. Incidentally, where this picture was taken from, it was very, very near the other Hong Kong picture that we got, where Q was asking us to look for the Snowden +1. So I have a feeling that we could be on to something with this guy. There are others of you who think this could be Prince William, and I have to say that the head is kind of compelling. I'm not so sure the body type is, but I suppose it could be. I imagine a prince would be with detail, some sort of security detail, unless he ditched him or whatnot. I would also assume, being a prince, they're going to know who Prince William is in Hong Kong. I'm not sure that he would be leaving any kind of public place without like some sort of blazer or something. After all, he is a prince, so he's got rolled up sleeves and whatnot. Looks kind of casual. I know Prince William would dress like that, but usually probably at an event. I would assume he'd be walking around out in a jacket because people would know who he is. But physically, it is rather compelling there. There are also some people that think this could be Ben Rhodes, White House staffer Ben Rhodes. I'm not really sure. That seems like the hair would be a little too light there. Now, the only connections I could find with Prince William, of course, back in 2015 from the BBC, they reported that he had met with President Xi, but that was 2015. I'm not so sure if that's immediately relevant. I didn't see any relevance, certainly with the kindergarten. Not that that would be the point, but and then I found this Prince William International Nursery School, but this is based in the United Kingdom, even though they do have Chinese students. There's also the Prince of Wales Hospital with this really creepy satanic looking crown, upside down cross, snake head looking thingy. But again, no direct link to Prince William, although this is based in Hong Kong. So there you go. Not exactly sure what to think about that. As far as how it's related to the plane, they're all similar timing, but not exactly. It could be that this plane stopped off in Hong Kong, picked up our boy. It could be that Snowden was involved. After all, there was talk of a server in China as well. So I think that I'd like to see a little bit more information, honestly, before I form any solid opinions. But you guys can let me know what you think down below. There clearly seems to be a connection somehow with China, Snowden, Clinton. I think the server and the schools could be something completely different, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of the information was stored on a server out there. After all, there were a ton of schools that seemed like they were infiltrated with all these pedos. So let me know what you guys think. Let's move on to this next post. Post 1681. Q says, disinformation is real. Disinformation is necessary. Example, U.S. military National Guard. 1. False. Saudi Arabia. True. Why was this necessary? What questions were asked regarding Saudi Arabia prior to Saudi Arabia events? Why is this relevant? Think mirror. Look there or here or there. Truth is behind you. And then Q says, today as patriots, we celebrate our independence. And it leaves you to a link. I'm not going to play this. This is John F. Kennedy delivering the Declaration of Independence, and it's a bit long, but I do suggest you check it out. It's always nice to hear him speak, but for the sake of length in the video, I am going to let you do that on your own. But let's talk about this post. Q takes us back to post 128 from November 9th, 2017, where Q starts out by saying trip added. This was the first time Q had a trip code. And then we see that spelled out through this message in brackets, we saw CIA is here, P-R-A-Y, pray. CIA is here, pray. And of course, that would be the reason for the disinformation. And here you see the highlighted part here. Disinformation is real. Disinformation is necessary. Example, U.S. military National Guard. 1. False. Saudi Arabia. True. Why was this necessary? What questions were asked regarding Saudi Arabia prior to Saudi Arabia events? Why is this relevant? Think mirror. Look there or here or there. Truth is behind you. Okay, so What questions were asked regarding Saudi Arabia prior to Saudi Arabia events? Backing it up to November 2nd, post 59, Q asked the questions, how did Saudi Arabia welcome POTUS during his trip? Well, they welcomed him like a champ. Why was this historic and not covered by mainstream media? Because mainstream media didn't want you to know that what was about to go down. How did Saudi Arabia welcome Barack Obama during his trip? Like a chump. How did Saudi Arabia welcome Hillary Rodham Clinton during her trip? About the same. Why is this relevant? Because it showed that they were ready for a regime change. Not suggesting Saudi Arabia is clean by any means, but they play a role in this global game of risk. Now let's move you just a little bit further forward. Fast forward you to post 72, November 4th, responding to an Anon. It says, wait. Go back to the post about the families that run everything and Trump taking one out. Was one of them this Saudi family? Seriously, because that makes this a happening. I remember the phrasing not making sense. I was like, oh, does he mean that DT took out the Clintons? But the Clintons were on the list as remaining, so I didn't know who was taken out. Q says, very smart. Anon, disinformation is real. Distractions are necessary. Saudi Arabia is the primary. U.S. is secondary. Asia, EU, Alice, and Wonderland. And then you see throughout the day here, martial law declared in Saudi Arabia. Why is this relevant? How much money was donated to Clinton Foundation by Saudi Arabia? And of course, Alaouid bin Talal funded tons of a lot of donations towards educational programs, as well as the Clinton Foundation. How much money was donated to John McCain Institute by Saudi Arabia? How much money was donated to Pelosi Foundation, CS CrowdStrike by Saudi Arabia? So you see the idea. They were taking care of the Saudi family at this time. And of course, on the same day, November 4th, we've got this big Antifa civil war. And it was going to be a big time civil war. And as you can see down here by this picture, it turned out really well. Everybody showed out to show their true colors, to make sure that they could bring down the fascist Trump regime. You can see tons and tons of, I guess they're getting their Starbucks first before they go to this civil war, but it didn't turn out so well. But then we have this. Saudi Arabia arrests 11 princes, including billionaire Alaouid bin Talal. And then, of course, there were 10 other princes that were arrested as well. Well, there's a lot to unpack regarding the Saudi Arabia situation, but I think what really Q is trying to say is that, look, we have all sorts of agents here that are following Q, so disinformation is sometimes important, whether that has to do with the plea deal we talked about yesterday, or this was a great example here regarding Saudi Arabia. We had Q kind of pumping up this martial law coming up in Saudi Arabia, and that set off these, Antifa civil war protests, and it ended up resulting in the arrest of 10 Saudi princes. So I think you see what's going on. Sometimes we got to fire a shot in one direction in order to do something in another. And remember, Q is always saying, think military operation. So a lot of this that we're getting from Q are the results of stages of military operations. Okay, those are your Q posts for today. I'm keeping it kind of light, not deep diving on anything. I'm following some other things for you. I want to turn you on to this over here from Judicial Watch. This is from June 28th. Federal court orders DOJ to begin searching and producing Fusion GPS records in response to Judicial Watch lawsuit. Judicial Watch announced U.S. District Court Judge Reggie B. Walton instructed the Justice Department to immediately begin producing records about DOJ communications with Nellie Orr, the wife of senior DOJ official Bruce Orr. Nellie Orr worked for Clinton campaign vendor Fusion GPS on the anti-Trump dossier campaign document. Judge Walton rejected a Justice Department request to begin producing documents 6 months from now and ordered the DOJ to begin producing documents immediately on a rolling basis over the next 2 months. Judge Walton also rejected DOJ's efforts to restrict their search to only 2016. So I will leave this for you below as well to have some fun. This is from a few days back, but still some interesting stuff coming up. And from the DC Chronicle, Michael Moats tweeted, something so tremendous, so huge, so crazy, so newsworthy is coming in DC politics. Stay tuned. And of course, a bunch of people were asking him about that, and his next tweet said, one letter, Q. I will leave you with that today. As always, if you like this video, please click like, share, and subscribe. And if you are not following me on Twitter, please do. It is IPOT 1776. That is IPOT, In Pursuit of Truth 1776, and you will find me over there. I'm often there if I'm not making videos. So there is your cue. If anything else comes up, I have a feeling we're going to get a little bit more information regarding these connections here. You can tell me what you think so far, but that's what I've got for you so far. And if anything else pops up, I will keep right on top of it. This is Sir Patrick Mack, and until next time, stay aware.